Bruh, after watching this movie, I'm seriously gonna cut my grass every week. Hey guys, welcome to the Bin Zone. Shalana here, and on today's video, we're talking about the Netflix original movie In the Tall Grass, directed by Vincenzo Natali, who also directed one of my favorite movies in the last 10 years, and that is the sci-fi gem called Splice. If you guys have not seen it, check it out. And this story, I thought to myself when I first saw this trailer and this premise, a movie about tall grass. This is the horror movie that Netflix is giving us. But then I saw it was by Stephen King and Joe Hill. For those of you guys who don't know, Joe Hill is Stephen King's son, and Stephen King is like the master of horror. So I said, you know what? This guy directed Splice. It's a Stephen King. I'm gonna watch it even though it's about tall grass. And I don't see how any scare tactics can come from tall grass. But I went in there with an open mind. I decided to watch it. And guys, the first 10 minutes or so are kind of cringy because you have to take a leap of faith with these characters because they're making some decisions which are kind of stupid, but those decisions need to be made for the story and the premise to actually happen. But once it happens, once they get into the tall grass, I have to say, geez, like, I did not expect this from this movie because I went in there, like you guys probably went in there, or you guys are probably thinking about, it's a movie about tall grass. It's supposed to be horror. How cheesy can this get? But once the mysteries start unraveling in this movie, and once the horror or thrillers, because this movie isn't really a horror movie, more so a thriller movie, and once those instances start happening, and once the mystery starts unfolding in front of us, this movie's pretty good. This movie is more than pretty good. This movie is damn good. I enjoyed this movie. I didn't think I could enjoy this movie as much as I did because there's so much mystery within the grass fields. And again, you have to take a leap of faith with some of these characters because some of the decisions they make early on in the movie is kind of brain dead. But once it starts expanding and once the other characters start coming in and you start to see just how dire the situation is in the tall grass, wow, this is some scary shit. Really. And I enjoyed that about this movie. I enjoyed that I did not know what was coming next. I really enjoyed that this movie as a whole took me on a journey. Granted, some stuff hit more than others. Some stuff in the mystery leaves you wanting more, leaves you asking more. And there's this big plot device in the movie. It's kind of like in the center of the movie and everything revolves around this plot device, but we aren't given any explanation as to what it is, how did it get there, and how are these things happening around this plot device. But even with all those questions being asked, which I will answer in another video, so be on the lookout for my In the Tall Grass Explained video, because there's a lot of lore and mythology that went into the creation of the mythos of this movie. And that's one of the things I love about horror movies. Well, the good kinds. The good kind of horror movies are the ones that leave you with more questions. You're asking, what's going on? How is this creature doing this? What is this? Like, what is happening? And this movie has that in droves. You like your horror to mix with and dabble with a little bit of religion? This movie has that. You like your horror to be a thriller? This movie has that. You think little kids are scary and creepy? This movie has a scary little kid in there. Like every horror thing that makes those type of movies interesting, it's in there. Granted, the social commentary is kind of like, not every movie needs to have that in it to be a good movie. So that's one of the things I was like, but you know, in 2019, all movies have to say something or they're not saying anything at all. But besides all of that, I enjoyed the performances in this movie. The actors, after the first, like I said, the first 10 minutes where they're super cringy because, you know, they have to get into the tall grass, they delivered. I felt bad for some of them. I genuinely hated some of them. And I wanted some of them to get their comeuppance. And it's a story of retribution in a sense. And it's a story that talks about life and giving more chances in life. And no matter, and certain characters or certain choices or certain destinies are unavoidable because of the path you take, whether it's in a field of grass or whether it's in life, which is kind of cool, I guess. But overall, the whole feel of this movie was that this is a movie that you have to go in there with an open mind because, again, it's Stephen King. He's the king of horror. Like, it's in his name. So you have to go in there, you have to watch this movie. And I saw this movie, and as I'm sitting on the couch, I'm watching this movie, I'm like, oh, 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 shit. And I'm jumping out of my seat, yelling at characters. Like any movie that takes you out of your element, that you have to look at the character and yell at them to do this or don't do that, or hey, yo, don't go that way, go this way. Oh my God, why aren't they listening? Any of those movies that get you to elicit those type of responses towards a screen where the characters can't even hear you is a good movie. Thoroughly, I enjoyed it. The premise sounds a little flaky, but the deliverance of the movie is pretty good. If I do have one complaint, it's about the ending of the movie, because I like my horror movies. I don't want to spoil anything because this is a spoiler-free review, but I like my horror movies to pack a certain punch. And I feel like the ending of this movie lacked that punch. Because granted, there was some dark shit at the end. Towards the end, there were some dark things happening. There were some creepy things happening, bloody, disgusting things happening. But the ending of the movie lacked that final gut punch for you to be like, oh, this movie's fucking sick. It was missing that. But overall, the whole journey through the grass and trying to unravel the mysteries along with the characters, the movie takes you and transports you into there, and you're going with the characters. That I liked. I like the fact that I was enthralled with the characters. I was enthralled with the mythology. I genuinely was afraid for them, and the thriller aspect of the movie played dividends because I was thrilled. There's no way to put it. I was thrilled. The movie took me there and it put me inside of the tall grass, and I thoroughly enjoyed that, guys. And that's pretty much gonna be it, because if I keep talking, I'm gonna spoil the movie for you guys, and I don't want to do that. But if you guys want to see no more and want to see more about In the Tall Grass, follow the channel, hit the subscribe button, give me a like, hit a thumbs up, and I will have a video very soon that explains the mythology of In the Tall Grass, what's going on, the plot device I was talking about earlier, the tall grass, the significance of it, and all the things that happen that has you traveling when, not where. Anyway, guys, until next time, binge on.